Hello, my name is Bogdan Dolhan, and I'm going to tell you today about the Salesforce REST API, which includes remote SOQL, SOSL, CRUD, and other available actions. I am Salesforce Development Team Lead, and also I have certified for SCOM Advanced Developer Certification credential. You can see my Twitter and my blog on this slide. So let's overview what we are going to discuss in this demonstration. So first of all, I would like to talk with you about what is REST design. And also I would like to describe the Salesforce REST API and list the most popular resources that it provides. And also I would like to demonstrate you some simple REST API demonstration application. Knowledge of REST will help you to understand how web works, and knowledge of REST API will help you to implement custom integration to Salesforce. So let's start from the REST. What is REST? REST is Representational State Transfer. Representational State Transfer is a software architectural style of the World Wide Web applications. The purpose of REST architecture is to induce performance, scalability, simplicity, modifiability, visibility, portability, and reliability. Who coined the term? It was Roy Fielding. This term, representational state transfer, was introduced and defined in 2000 by Roy Fielding in his doctoral dissertation at UC Irvine. REST has been applied to describe desired web architecture, to identify existing problems, to compare alternative solutions, and to ensure that protocol extension would not violate the core constraints that make the web successful. Fielding uses REST to design HTTP 1.1 and Uniform Resource Identifiers (URI). RESTful systems. To the extent the system conforms to the constraints of REST, they can be called RESTful. RESTful systems typically but not always communicate over Hypertext Transfer Protocol (HTTP) with the same HTTP verbs get, post, put, delete, patch that web browser used to retrieve web pages and to send data to remote servers. REST system interface with external system as web resources identified by uniform resource identifiers. For example, people Tom, which can be operated upon using standard verbs such as get/people/Tom, which may mean to extract information for the person Tom in the resource people. Examples: many public API use REST. For example, Google Glass API, Twitter API, Amazon Web Services, Atom, RESTful alternative to RSS, and also Tesla Model S uses RESTful calls to communicate between mobile devices and car. Understanding for SCOM REST resources. REST resource is an abstraction of piece of information such as single data record, a collection of records, or even dynamic real-time information. Each resource in the SCOM REST API is identified by a named URI, and its access uses standard HTTP methods get, post, patch, delete. The SCOM REST API is based on the usage of resources, their URIs, and the links between them. Nota bene, no put verb. Put was used to replace the entire resource and is not used in SCOM REST API. You can use a resource to interact with your Salesforce or SCOM organization. For example, you can retrieve summary information about the API version available to you, obtain detailed information about the Salesforce object such as an account or a custom object, obtain detailed information about SCOM objects such as a user or a custom object, perform a query or a search, update or delete records. What is the difference between head and get? The HTTP methods are used to indicate the desired actions such as retrieving information as well as creating, updating, and deleting records. Head is used to retrieve resource metadata. This is the same as get but lacks response body. Get is used to retrieve information such as basic resource summary information. Post is used to create a new object. Patch is used to update a record, and delete is used to delete a record. REST principle, stateless as caching. Stateless, what does it mean? Each request from client to server must contain all the information necessary to understand the request and should not use any stored content on the server. However, the representations of the resources are interconnected using URLs, which allows the client to progress between states. Caching behavior. Responses are labeled as cacheable or not cacheable. What means cacheable? It means that a resource can be retrieved once and used later without making additional requests to the server. Uniformity and naming. Uniform interface. All resources are accessed with a generic interface or HTTP. Also, all resources are named using a base URI that follows your ForceCom URI. Layers and authentication. The ForceCom REST API architecture allows the existence of such intermediaries as proxy servers and gateways to exist between the client and the resources. And also, the ForceCom REST API supports OAuth 2.0, an open protocol to allow secure API authorization. JSON versus XML. Support for JSON XML. JSON is the default option. You can use the HTTP accept header to select either JSON or XML, or you can append .json or .xml to the URI, for example, /account/the_id.json. The JavaScript object notation JSON format is supported with UTF-8. Datetime information is ISO 8601 format. XML serialization is similar to SOAP API. XML requests are supported in UTF-8 and UTF-16, and XML responses are provided in UTF-8. What is a relationship URLs, also known as friendly, is an additional feature of Salesforce REST API. So instead of making several calls, you can use one using this friendly URI. It provides an intuitive way to construct REST API requests and minimizes the number of round trips between your application and Salesforce organization. Friendly URLs are available in API version 36 and later. This functionality is exposed via the as-object relationship resource. Accessing a contact's parent account without a friendly URL involves requesting the contact record using the as-object rows resource. Then you can examine the account relationship field to obtain the account ID and request the account record with another core to as-object rows. Using a friendly URL, you can access the account in a single call directly from the contact's path, like /services/data/version 36.0 /as-object/contact/the actual ID of contact and /account. REST API versus SOAP API versus bulk API. SOAP API may be more convenient to process multiple records, since it has the same method for one or multiple records DML operation, while REST API has different resources for multiple records DML operations, which is composite tree. If you need to process huge amount of data, you should definitely use bulk API. While it's possible to query or search for multiple records in REST API using one request to perform update or delete operations, you need to perform one request per each record or use composite batch to unite DML operations in a batch. How we can know available version? This is simple if you use the version resource, which is just slash started from sources data. Yes. So it supports format JSON XML and HTTP GET and doesn't require authentication and doesn't require any parameters. And it just lists summary information about each Salesforce version currently available on this instance, including the version label and the link to each version root. You can see the two URLs. First one retrieves all the version, and second one checks if there is summer 16 release on your production. In my demo application, it looks like this. You can make the request, and you can see all the list of the version as a drop-down pick list. And here I also show you exact request. So my instance is EU6, and I was querying for 36 version, which is Spring 16, and you can see the response status and the response headers and response body below. After we request for the version, we can request for available resources. You can see the resources in another drop-down list. So we can also retrieve the list of objects if we select the SObjects resource. You can see the request, response headers, and response body in this picture. Also, when we request for the resource for the SObject, we can populate the drop-down list of all available SObjects in your organization, and then you can select one of them. Also, standard SObject describe provides only generic information about SObject, but doesn't provide the information about its fields. So if you would like to see the fields information, you need to make additional GET request to the SObject describe. And it looks like this. I have chosen the Apex class SObject, and describe returns me information about its fields and other relative metadata information. You can run SOQL queries using a REST API. In my demo, you can just put the input query and it will be transformed to the appropriate format, and the results will be displayed. So you can also make a SOSL search. It works like in the same way, but in the different resource. For the query, for the SOQL query, it's use query, and for SOSL search, it's use search resource. And also, you can get more detailed information about the record if you just go to the SObjects /SObject name and then /the ID, and all the fields will be returned in the GET call. So let's talk about CRUD. You should know about the 4 CRUD operation: create, read, update, and delete. First of all, it is create. We can create in my demonstration application using passing JSON data, or we can also create selecting the fields and inputting values for the fields. So when we perform this, Salesforce REST API returns us the URL to the record and its ID. So next operation is read. We can also make read calls. Also, since we can make a query, we can populate all the Salesforce records IDs and select one ID from the list. And also, certain objects do not allow DML operation in Apex, like, for example, you cannot update organization because you will receive DML not allowed on organization exception. However, organization allows you to make updates through REST API, which is very convenient in some cases. So in this on this slide, I'm showing you how I can make update to the organization name. Also, I can select the unique ID from the drop-down, or I can input it manually, and the update operation will be performed successfully. So the last operation in CRUD is delete. You can delete records through the REST API like follows. So in this demonstration, you can either select a subject ID through the drop-down pick list, or you can enter it manually. Also, if any error happens, for example, if you try to delete the same record twice, you will see the message about it, which returns REST API. For example, entity is deleted is shown if you try to delete the same record twice, which means you are trying to delete the record which is already deleted. Also, you can access the custom RESTful services. If we have an organization which has some Apex REST services, we can access through this demo application, changing the services data to services Apex REST, and then a relative URI from your REST service with parameters needed. And here you can see the response body and response headers. So this is the list of references which might be useful. And let's talk about summary. So what you should know now after you have listened this video. So now you should have deeper understanding of what REST is and which system can be called RESTful. Also, you should understand how Salesforce REST API works and which abilities it provides. So you can now use Salesforce REST API in your integration. It may be either Java integration or .NET integration, or like I have demonstrated, Salesforce to Salesforce integration. So actually, when I presented this talk in my company, I had several questions about if REST API respects sharing. Yes, it respects sharing. So if you make queries or CRUD operation or records which user doesn't have access, it would fail. So thank you for your attention, and may the first come be with you.